Hi there everyone, we're going to have a quick look now at the latest two releases in the DC Comics graphic novel collection. This is issues 53 and 54. It's been a while since I did the review of the previous two. It's been quite a few weeks since I did the last one. Obviously my videos since then have been mainly my figure collection, so this is the first time I've looked at this set in quite a while, probably about a month or so. But then again, you only get one every fortnight, so I suppose if I was going to review two at a time, we'd have to wait a month. But nevertheless, here we go. These are the latest two that have come out. We've got the new Teen Titans, The Judas Contract, and then after that, we've got Superman for Tomorrow, Part 1. So we'll start with the first one, number 53, The New Teen Titans, A Judas Contract. Originally released in the 80s, this, about 84, something like that, 85 maybe, I could be wrong, I'd have to go back and check, but in that ballpark. Written by Marv Wolfman, art by George Perez. Now, for anyone who knows the comic history would know that Wolfman and Perez actually created the new Teen Titans, and also created the character of Deathstroke. I mean, that doesn't get more seminal than that. So to say they're significant contributors in the sort of comic annals is putting it lightly. They also, between them, Wolfman wrote and Perez drew, respectively, the Crisis on Infinite Earths, which is one of those, it's absolute classic collection of issues that basically reset the DC universe in the 1980s, collapsed the multiverse in on itself and moved forward with just one planet continuity. Obviously since then that's been done away with and re-expanded over the the following 30 years. But obviously at the time it was pretty seminal. So anyway, I'm getting off track there. This one then, The New Teen Titans, The Judas Contract. Very, very significant book. Not that long ago, earlier this year, it was released as an animated film, Teen Titans, A Judas Contract, which was pretty faithful to the overall book. They made one or two changes, but they kept the overall story. The story as it is, anyway, basically it's your classic new Teen Titans. So you got Robin, Wonder Girl, Kid Flash, Raven, Cyborg, Starfire, and Beast Boy. And this run actually had quite a lot of significant things. It's the departure of Kid Flash from the new Teen Titans, and also it's the first time that Dick Grayson ditches the Robin persona and becomes Nightwing. So that really is what you call a significant moment in DC history, the end of Dick Grayson as Robin and the start of Nightwing, which would obviously then see Bruce Wayne / Batman recruiting Jason Todd to be the next Robin, and so on and so on and so forth. But quite a landmark event. Also within here you get the first time ever the origin of Deathstroke, so you get to see his entire backstory. So again, I mean, there's quite a lot going on in this book. The basic plot, again, I'm not going to go over it in any great detail for people who haven't read it, but it involves obviously this young lady here, Terra, who's a member of the Teen Titans, but she's actually working for Deathstroke. And as hinted in the book here, and as was hinted in the animated film, there's some kind of inappropriate physical relationship going on between the two, and she's a teenage girl and he's a middle-aged man. But, you know, whatever, I suppose anything goes in the world of comics. Yeah, she's been put there by him to basically try and bring them down from inside. He has overtaken a contract that was originally his son's, but he takes it on to basically take down the Teen Titans, using her as his mole, and capture them and submit them over to Brother Blood, who needs them for his own nefarious needs. He basically, if memory serves, he wants to harness their powers in a machine that will, grant him more power and invincibility and all the rest of it. Even though why he would stick Nightwing in there when he's has zero powers remains to be seen. Maybe he just wanted his steely resolve, who knows. It's a good book. I mean, it's very much of its time. It's very 80s. It has a lot of characters sort of doing the whole interior monologue. A lot of sentences ending with an exclamation point, which is very much an 80s thing. But it's a great read, and it's a very, like I said earlier, the stuff that's in there, you know, first appearance of Nightwing, backstory of Deathstroke, it's, you know, it's worth having just for those things. It's very well drawn. You can see there the George Perez art, very colourful, very beautiful to look at. But, you know, it's of its time, I would say. It's not something that particularly translates well to sort of average comic reader now, I would say. But for those who appreciate the comic history, I couldn't recommend having something like this anymore, really. It's a great read. I think anyone would enjoy it. And again, it's just one of those where you want to read it because you want to see things you've not... Well, it's things you have seen before, but you want to know where the people come from. So it's a very significant one to have. Okay, well, that's number 53. The next one then, number 54, is Superman for Tomorrow Part 1. Obviously, Part 2 will come next in Part 55. I'll review that as and when I get it. I think it's on its way, actually. But nevertheless, they split the storyline in two. This one was written by Brian Azzarello, who I've got a couple of his other books. I've got his Joker story that he did. That's a fantastic book. That's a reimagined Joker as a sort of gangster type figure in Gotham City. That's very good to read. He also did, which I've got somewhere, the Before Watchmen Rorschach story. For those who've read the Before Watchmen prequels, very good stuff. You know, there's a certain sort of fraternity of Alan Moore devotees who think that it's sacrilege to have written them, you know, because it wasn't involving the great Alan Moore, and Watchmen is its own thing and nobody should touch it. But, you know, I thought they were really good. I really enjoyed reading all the Before Watchmen prequels, and I'm also, you know, thoroughly enjoying the integration of the Watchmen characters into the current mainstream DC continuity. It's very good. Although it's, you know, very much a slow drip feed of those characters into the world. Obviously that'll gather a pace with Doomsday Clock when that starts its run in November, I think, or is it end of October? I'm not sure. But that'll last a year, so, you know, obviously we'll see Dr. Manhattan. He's already been in the mainstream continuity. I think it's pretty, judging by the covers he put out, we'll get to see Ozymandias as well, and Rorschach. So, I mean, God, the possibilities are endless. I think most comic book fans are sort of salivating over that. Anyway, I digress. Written by Brian Azzarello, art by Jim Lee. I mean, Jim Lee is comic book art royalty, I suppose. He's one of the key players. I think he's co-publisher of DC Comics themselves now. So, you know, he is, you know, one of the flagship artists. I mean, you know, he has a very distinct style, as you can see here. Very iconic the way he draws his characters. You know, you see this in a lot of his work. Very bold shapes. Really well done. Very striking. Really easy to look at as well. Some artists, you look at their work and it can be quite alienating. You know, some artists draw, you know, in a very haphazard, abstract way. But I like the way he draws it. It's very bold, very defined lines. Characters with a lot of facial expression. Very easy to read and very easy to enjoy. This one then, probably, I think it was originally published in the mid-noughties. I might be wrong, maybe about 2004, 2006. The basic premise of this is that several million people just randomly vanish off the face of the earth. Kind of like the TV show The Leftovers, actually, for anyone who's ever watched that. Very similar in a way. Nevertheless, for reasons yet to be explained in this story anyway, the millions of them vanish, including Lois Lane, who is one of them. And this story picks up 1 year after that event. Superman is sort of feeling intense guilt over it, as when it actually took place, he was in outer space at the time, rescuing Green Lantern. Kyle Rayner Green Lantern, that is, not Hal Jordan from some catastrophe, so he feels terrible guilt over not being there to try and save people, although what he could have done remains to be seen. So it picks up a year after, and throughout this, interspersed with moments of action, it's quite a thoughtful book, actually. It's basically Superman in frequent conversations with a priest, Father Leone, I think his name is, who's terminally ill, I think, with cancer. The priest is obviously not Superman. And Superman almost sort of is almost not confessing his sins because he's Superman. He doesn't really have any sins, but, you know, it becomes like a confessional where Superman's sort of, you know, trying to offload his guilt. And, you know, there's a lot of conversations in it about theology and discussions about the value of life and things like this. So it's quite a thoughtful book. It's not your sort of, you know, costumed heroes walloping each other. It's, you know, it's a little deeper than that. And, you know, again, don't want to give the plot away, but, you know, Superman is trying to find out what happened to these people, how to get them back, basically, you know. He finds some kind of method using a vanishing machine, which is a really lame term, but nevertheless, his attempts to recreate the events to try and find out what happened to them leads him into conflict with the Justice League. They don't agree with it. At one point in this book, he ends up having a sort of a knockdown, drag-out brawl with Wonder Woman about it. That's quite a good thing to see, quite a good visual. And he, you know, tries to find out where they've gone. He tries to recreate it, and it goes awry, and then more people vanish, like another 300,000 people vanish. So obviously he's held accountable for that. Obviously, it's only the first part of a two-parter, so the story doesn't resolve itself. It kind of hangs after that with people, you know, people wondering what Superman's place is in the world, he wondering what his place is in the world, and questioning his own worth. So it's quite an interesting book. It's, you know, different sort of tone to a lot of your Superman runs, where, you know, it's all very optimistic, and, you know, he is the saviour of the world. But this one is a bit different, where he's not, and he's got to try and figure out how he can fix a broken world. A good read. I'm not crazy about it, but, you know, I'm looking forward to reading the second part to see how it's resolved, having never read it when it was originally published. So I think that should probably get that next week, I think, and then I'll, you know, perhaps stick it on here with that and the one after it, which will be number 56, which is another Justice League one, Cry for Justice, which I'm very much looking forward to reading. But yeah, this one, it's okay. I'm not gushing about it, but it's a good read. It's visually, it's stunning, and, you know, it's just one of those where you can sit down and enjoy it, and kind of not. I'm struggling what to say here, really, but you're not glued to it. At least I wasn't, but each to their own, I suppose. So yeah, that's number 50, is it 55? 54 it is. Oh, there you go. It was originally published in 2004 to 2005. There we go. So that's number 54 of this ever-growing set. As I said, we'll look at the next two when I get those. Bye for now.